The Boundary Makers. Commander Ilara Chen stood at the observation deck of Orbital Station Artemis, watching the massive alien vessels hovering above Earth like geometric clouds. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent sheen that seemed to shift colors under the sunlight. Beautiful, yet deeply unsettling. 3 months since first contact, and the consortium had made themselves quite comfortable in Earth's orbit. "Commander, they're requesting your presence in the negotiation chamber." Lieutenant Rivera's voice broke through her thoughts. "Understood," Ilara replied, straightening her uniform. "Any updates on their proposal?" "Nothing new, ma'am. Still the same protection agreement with technological restrictions." Ilara's jaw tightened. Protection agreement, a pretty name for what amounted to a technological prison. The consortium representatives waited in the station's largest conference room. 6 different species, all united under one governing body, all watching humanity with wary eyes. The lead negotiator, Ambassador Voxelan, rose as she entered. His translucent skin revealed pulsing organs beneath, a feature of the Nulari species that humans still found disconcerting. "Commander Chen, please join us." Voxelan gestured to an empty chair with one of his 4 arms. "We were just explaining the final terms of the protection accords to your government representatives." United Earth Council President Okafor looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes betraying the weeks of tense negotiations. Around him sat representatives from the major Earth powers, all appearing equally drained. "As we were saying," Voxelan continued, "these terms are not negotiable for new species joining the consortium's protection. For your security and the stability of galactic civilization." Ilara took her seat silently as a holographic display materialized over the table, highlighting key restrictions. No spacecraft exceeding 150 meters in length. No weapons systems beyond defensive capabilities. No FTL drives beyond consortium-approved designs. No military fleet exceeding 100 vessels. All technological developments subject to consortium review. So we're expected to deliberately hobble our development. Ilara couldn't hold her tongue any longer. "How is that protection?" Voxelan's upper eyes blinked in sequence. "Commander, surely you understand. Young species must be guided carefully into the galactic community. Your civilization advanced from primitive flight to rudimentary space travel in barely a century. Such rapid development is concerning." "Concerning to whom?" Ilara challenged. "To those who have seen the consequences of unchecked advancement." Another consortium member spoke up, a reptilian being called Shesk. "The consortium has maintained peace for 9,000 years by carefully managing technological growth." President Okafor raised a hand to silence Ilara. "We understand your concerns, Ambassador. And what happens if Earth refuses these terms?" The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees as Voxelan leaned forward. "Then Earth remains isolated. The consortium controls all established hyperspace lanes. Without our navigation data, you would be trapped in this solar system. Moreover, there are less benevolent entities in the galaxy than the consortium. We could not guarantee your safety." The threat hung in the air, clear as crystal. 2 days later, with great ceremony and under the watchful eyes of billions, Earth signed the protection accords. Naval Intelligence Headquarters, 3 months after the signing, became a hive of activity. Ilara had been reassigned there after voicing too many objections during the negotiations. A punishment posting, or so she thought initially. Admiral Winslow, head of intelligence, called her to his office late one evening. "Close the door, Commander," he ordered as she entered. Once she complied, he activated a signal jammer. "What I'm about to share doesn't leave this room." He pushed a data tablet across his desk. "Our linguists and analysts have been working overtime on the consortium's historical archives they so generously shared with us." Ilara scanned the report, her blood running cold. "This can't be right." "Triple verified," Winslow confirmed grimly. "The consortium has a pattern with potentially aggressive species. They impose restrictions, then gradually increase them over centuries, until the species in question is effectively neutered. 3 civilizations have been quietly driven to extinction this way in the last millennium alone. And we're next on their list, Ilara concluded. Precisely. They fear our adaptability and innovation, qualities they lack. Winslow stood and walked to a wall display, activating a hidden panel that revealed technical schematics, which is why we've initiated Project Wildcard. The schematic showed what appeared to be several different vessels, but Ilara quickly realized they were component parts of a single, much larger ship. A modular design, she observed, each section under 150 meters, technically complying with treaty restrictions. Exactly. Individually, each module is a perfectly legitimate research vessel or cargo hauler. Together, Winslow's eyes gleamed. Together, they form something the consortium would never allow. A warship, Ilara breathed. We're calling it the Daedalus. On paper, it's 7 separate ships being constructed for different purposes. In reality, it's our insurance policy. Winslow fixed her with an intense stare. I want you to oversee its construction. Me? Why? Because you've been vocal about the consortium's true nature. Because you have engineering expertise. And because, Commander, you have something we desperately need right now. What's that? Righteous anger, Winslow said simply. This project will operate from the Armstrong facility on the far side of the moon. Officially, you're developing standardized interfaces for our treaty-compliant vessels. Unofficially, Ilara studied the schematics more carefully. This design is brilliant. Each module self-sufficient, but designed to interlock. Weapon systems disguised as research equipment. Power distribution that can be rerouted on demand. Can you do it, Commander? Under their noses, within their restrictions, but breaking their intent at every turn. Ilara thought of Earth signing away its future, of the civilizations that had disappeared under consortium protection. When do I start? The Armstrong facility, hunched in the shadow of the Montes Ripheus mountain range on the moon's hidden face. Perfect isolation, perfect secrecy. Ilara's shuttle touched down on a dust-covered landing pad 12 hours after her meeting with Winslow. Dr. Imani O.C., lead engineer for Project Wildcard, met her at the airlock. A brilliant mind who had designed Earth's first fusion-powered spacecraft before the consortium arrived. Welcome to the rebellion, Commander. O.C. greeted her with a wry smile. Ready to build the impossible. Show me what we're working with, Ilara replied. The facility's main hangar was enormous, excavated deep into the lunar rock. Inside, teams were already at work on various components, each resembling ordinary vessels, but designed with hidden purposes. Module 1, Osei explained, pointing to the nearest section. Officially a deep space sensor platform. Actually the command and control center for Daedalus. How many people know the full scope of what we're building? 50. Each team thinks they're building their section for its cover purpose. Only section leaders know the truth. Ilara nodded, studying the construction. And consortium inspections. We get 2 hours warning before any official visit. Enough time to hide the integration points and critical systems. Osei led her through the hangar. Module 2, officially a gravitational wave detector. Actually our main weapons platform. The tour continued, revealing the cleverness of the deception. Module 3, a biology research vessel that housed the main drive systems. Module 4, a materials processing lab that contained advanced shield generators. Modules 5 through 7, supply carriers that completed the hull and contained auxiliary systems. Individually, they're mundane, Osei concluded. Together, they're a technological middle finger to the consortium. Ilara finished. How long until completion? 18 months if everything goes perfectly, Osei answered. More realistically, 2 years. Ilara's communicator buzzed. A priority message from Earth. Consortium inspection team inbound to Armstrong. Arrival in 100 minutes. Standard protocol. OC didn't miss a beat. You're about to see how good we are at hiding in plain sight, Commander. The transformation was remarkable. Within an hour, the facility shifted from building a revolutionary warship to constructing ordinary research vessels. Sensitive equipment disappeared behind false walls. Integrated systems were disconnected and disguised as separate projects. Staff effortlessly switched to their cover stories. When Inspector Shesk and his team arrived, they found nothing but humans dutifully building the modest vessels permitted by treaty. Your first research flotilla progresses well, Shesk commented as Ilara led him through the facility. His reptilian eyes scanned everything suspiciously. We have to make the most of what we're allowed. Ilara replied with just the right amount of resignation in her voice. Shesk paused by Module 2, examining its exterior. This sensor array seems unusual. Modified to operate in the radiation fields of Jupiter's moons, Osei explained smoothly. We're planning to study the interaction between solar radiation and Jupiter's magnetosphere. Shesk seemed unconvinced, running a scanning device over the hull. The power coupling requirements seem excessive. Deep space research requires redundancy, Ilara interjected. We've learned that lesson the hard way. After 3 tense hours, the inspection concluded without incident. As the consortium shuttle departed, Ilara exhaled slowly. That was too close, she said quietly. Osei nodded. They're getting more thorough each time. I think they suspect something. Then we need to work faster, Ilara decided. The longer this takes, the more chances they have to catch us. Over the next 14 months, Project Wildcard proceeded under increasingly difficult circumstances. Consortium inspections doubled in frequency. Supply shipments faced greater scrutiny. Twice, they nearly discovered critical components hidden within seemingly innocent equipment. Yet the datalist took shape, module by module. The engineering challenges were immense, creating weapons that didn't look like weapons, drive systems that appeared to be standard models but could perform well beyond treaty limits, and communication systems that could operate without detection. The human team rose to every challenge with ingenuity and determination. When the consortium banned certain alloys, they developed composites with similar properties. When reactor designs were restricted, they built smaller, interconnected power systems that could function independently or as one massive power source. On a rare return visit to Earth, Ilara met with Admiral Winslow in the same secure office where Project Wildcard had begun. We're 3 months from completion, she reported. Final integration of the modules can be accomplished in orbit within hours. Winslow nodded grimly. You might not have 3 months, Commander. Our analysts intercepted communications between the consortium representatives. They're planning a security reassessment of all human facilities. They know something's wrong, Ilara realized. They suspect, but don't know what. Winslow pulled up a classified intelligence briefing. More concerning is this report about consortium fleet movements. They're positioning additional peacekeeping vessels in our system. Standard procedure before tightening restrictions on a protected species. Ilara felt her stomach tighten. They're preparing to lock us down further. Exactly. The Daedalus may need to launch sooner than planned. It won't be fully operational. A partially operational Daedalus is better than no Daedalus at all. Winslow fixed her with a steely gaze. Be ready to move on short notice. The warning proved prophetic. 2 weeks later, as Ilara supervised the final calibrations on Module 2's disguised weapon systems, alarms blared throughout the Armstrong facility. Chief of Security Kaido rushed onto the factory floor. Unscheduled consortium inspection shuttle on approach. 6 minutes out. 6 minutes. Ilara's blood ran cold. Protocol says we get 2 hours. They've changed the rules, Kaido replied grimly. Standard protocol has been revised as of this morning. Ilara made a split-second decision. Initiate Exodus protocol. The command set off a flurry of activity. Crucial project personnel began evacuating through emergency tunnels. Data cores were removed or wiped. And most importantly, The nearly completed modules began moving toward the launch bays. "We can't hide everything in 6 minutes," Osai warned, rushing to her side. "We're not hiding. We're running." Ilara activated the facility-wide comm. "All section leaders, prepare for emergency deployment. This is not a drill." The consortium's attempt to catch them off guard had forced their hand. The Daedalus would launch today, ready or not. Breaking the cage. Consortium Inspector Shesk's shuttle touched down on the Armstrong facility's landing pad with unusual haste. The surprise inspection had been authorized at the highest levels after pattern recognition algorithms flagged anomalies in human resource allocation and power consumption. Something was happening on the moon's far side, and the consortium intended to discover what. Instead of a reception committee, Shesk found the facility in apparent chaos. Emergency lights flashed. Personnel rushed in all directions. Commander Chen met him at the airlock, her expression a careful mask of concern. "Inspector Shesk, this is an unfortunate time for a visit," she said breathlessly. "We've had a containment failure in our biology lab. Possible contamination. We're evacuating non-essential personnel." Shesk's forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air. "Curious timing, Commander. Our analysis suggested unusual activity here." "Nothing unusual except the accident," Ilara replied smoothly. "I can provide you with a limited tour of unaffected areas. But safety protocols." A massive rumble interrupted her as the facility shook. Shesk's eyes narrowed. "That was no containment breach," he hissed, pushing past her. "That was a launch." Ilara followed him to the nearest viewport, where they witnessed Module 3, the disguised drive system, rising on a plume of fire. "Emergency jettison of the affected laboratory," Ilara improvised. "Standard quarantine procedure." But Shesk was already activating his communication device. "Enforcement vessels required at human lunar facility immediately. Unauthorized launches detected. Treaty violation in progress." In the command center, chaos was controlled and purposeful. Ilara entered at a run, Officer Kaido at her heels. "Status," she demanded. "Modules 1 and 3 successfully launched," reported the operations officer. 2, 4, and 5 prepping for immediate departure. 6 and 7 need another 20 minutes. "We don't have 20 minutes," Ilara replied, studying the tactical display. Consortium communication relays were lighting up across cislunar space. "Launch everything now. Modules 6 and 7 aren't fully prepped." "Now, Lieutenant. Better incomplete than captured." As the remaining modules blasted from their base, Inspector Shesk was physically restrained in a secure office. He thrashed against his bonds, reptilian face contorted with rage. "You've doomed your species, Commander." He spat as Ilara checked his restraints. "The consortium will invoke Article 7, the punishment for weaponized deception." "We're not deceiving anyone anymore," Ilara replied calmly. "We're simply refusing to be caged." She left him there. The facility was being abandoned anyway, and made her way to the last shuttle. The remaining staff were evacuating to fallback positions across the lunar surface. "Dr. Osi, already aboard Module 1, Kaido confirmed. "She'll oversee integration once we reach the rendezvous point." Their shuttle blasted away from Armstrong facility just as the first consortium enforcement vessel appeared over the lunar horizon. Sleek and predatory, it was twice the size of anything humans were permitted to build. "This is consortium enforcement. All human vessels return to surface immediately or face disablement." Ilara's shuttle ignored the command, accelerating toward the dark side of the moon, where Earth could not observe what happened next. The first Daedalus modules were already executing the emergency rendezvous plan, meeting at designated coordinates in the moon's shadow. "Jamming active," reported the communications officer. Consortium signals degraded by 70%. Another achievement that should have been impossible under treaty restrictions, but humans had found creative ways to interpret the rules. When they docked with Module 1 20 minutes later, integration was already underway. Through the viewport, Ilara could see the massive components moving into alignment, magnetic clamps engaging as pieces of the puzzle snapped together. On the module's bridge, Dr. Osi directed the assembly with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. "Commander on deck," someone announced as Ilara entered. "Status report," she ordered, taking position at the command station. "Modules 1 through 5 successfully docked and integrated," Osai reported. 6 arriving now, 7 3 minutes behind. Consortium enforcement vessels are searching in a standard grid pattern. They haven't detected our position yet. The tactical display showed 5 consortium ships spreading out around the moon. Earth was still unaware of the confrontation unfolding on its satellite's far side. "Power systems," Ilara asked. "Primary reactor at 62% capacity. Secondary systems online, but not yet synchronized. Weapons? Point defense operational. Main armaments at 40% capacity. Targeting systems still calibrating. Not ideal, but they wouldn't get better odds." The Daedalus was a magnificent improvisation. Modules joining to form a vessel 600 meters long with capabilities no human ship should possess according to the consortium's restrictions. "Module 7 has arrived," announced the docking controller. "Final integration sequence initiating." As the last piece locked into place, the Daedalus shuddered to life as a single unified vessel. Systems that had been designed separately now functioned as one. Power flowed through conduits that stretched across multiple modules. Weapons that appeared to be innocent research equipment reconfigured into configurations the consortium had explicitly forbidden. "Daedalus is operational," Osei confirmed, unable to hide the pride in her voice. "Not at full capacity, but operational." "That will have to be enough," Ilara said, settling into the captain's chair. "Navigation. Plot course for the Mars L4 point. We'll make our stand there." "Consortium vessel changing course," the sensor operator called out. "They've detected us." On the display, one of the enforcement ships had broken from the search pattern and was accelerating toward their position. "Time to introduction," Ilara said quietly. The Daedalus emerged from the moon's shadow, drives pulsing with blue-white energy as it accelerated away from Earth. Its unusual modular design made it instantly recognizable as something that could not, exist under the protection accords. "Unidentified human vessel," came the consortium transmission. "You are in violation of multiple treaty provisions. Power down and prepare for boarding." Ilara opened a channel. "This is Commander Ilara Chen of the Earth vessel Daedalus. We acknowledge your message but decline to comply." "Commander Chen," the consortium captain's voice hardened. "Your vessel exceeds size restrictions by 400%. Its very existence violates our agreement. Stand down immediately or face consequences." "We've studied your consequences quite thoroughly," Ilara replied. "We've seen what happens to species that obediently accept your protection. We choose a different path." She signaled to cut the transmission. "They're powering weapons," reported the tactical officer. "Hold course," Ilara ordered. "Let them fire first." The consortium vessel launched a warning shot, an energy pulse that deliberately missed the Daedalus by a narrow margin. No response. Ilara commanded as her crew tensed. "Not yet." A second shot followed, closer this time. "They're testing our defenses," Osi observed. "And learning nothing," Ilara replied with satisfaction. The Daedalus's hull contained sensor-absorbing materials that made accurate readings difficult. Another innovation that pushed treaty boundaries. The third shot didn't miss. The energy beam struck the Daedalus's outer hull, sending tremors through the ship. "Minimal damage," reported damage control. "Outer plating functioning as designed." "Now we respond," Ilara said. "Tactical, target their propulsion systems. Minimal force." The weapons officer complied, and the Daedalus fired for the first time. Beams of concentrated energy lanced from disguised emplacements, striking the consortium vessel with surgical precision. On the tactical display, the enforcement ship's drive signature flickered and dimmed. "Direct hit," tactical confirmed. Their main propulsion is offline. Send to all consortium frequencies, Ilara ordered. We have demonstrated capability without inflicting casualties. We seek neither conflict nor domination, only the right to develop without artificial constraints. Before any response came, sensors detected 4 more consortium vessels converging on their position. They're coordinating to surround us, Kaito warned. Ilara studied the tactical display. Plot intercept course to the nearest vessel. Maximum acceleration. The crew exchanged surprised glances, but the navigation officer complied. The Daedalus surged forward, accelerating directly toward one of the approaching consortium ships. They're expecting us to flee or surrender, Ilara explained. We do neither. As the distance closed, the consortium vessel attempted evasive maneuvers, clearly unprepared for a human ship to charge directly at them. Weapons range in 15 seconds, Tactical reported. Target their sensors only, Ilara ordered. Precise strikes. The Daedalus fired again, its energy weapons slicing through the consortium vessel's sensor arrays with pinpoint accuracy. Pull alongside them, within 50 meters, Ilara commanded next. Commander, that's dangerously close, the navigation officer protested. Exactly. They won't fire their main weapons with us so close. They'd risk damaging themselves. The bold maneuver worked. The consortium ship held its fire as the Daedalus pulled alongside, nearly scraping hulls. Open channel to all consortium vessels, Ilara said. Attention consortium forces. We have demonstrated both technological capability and tactical restraint. We have crippled 2 of your vessels without casualties. This confrontation can end here. There was a long pause before a response came. Human vessel, this is Enforcement Commander Vextor. You have committed serious violations of the Protection Accords. Stand down and prepare for boarding. We cannot do that, Commander Vextor, Ilara replied. The Protection Accords were signed under false pretenses. We've seen your historical records. What happens to species that accept your protection? Gradual restriction, cultural stagnation, eventually, extinction. Another pause, longer this time. What are your demands? Vextor finally asked. The Daedalus will proceed to Mars orbit, where it will remain as proof of human ingenuity and determination. Earth will negotiate new terms with the consortium. As equals, not as subjects. The pattern ends with humanity. The standoff lasted 3 tense hours. More consortium vessels arrived, surrounding the Daedalus but maintaining distance. Communications flew between the enforcement fleet and consortium leadership light minutes away. Finally, Ambassador Voxelan himself spoke through the channel. Commander Chen, you have created an unprecedented situation. The Consortium Council has authorized me to open preliminary discussions on treaty revisions. On the bridge, the crew maintained professional composure, but Ilara could see the hope in their eyes. We accept, Ambassador, with conditions. These discussions will be public, broadcast to Earth and all consortium worlds. No more secrets. That is highly irregular, Voxelan replied, discomfort evident even through the translator. As is the Daedalus, Ilara countered. Yet here we are. In the days that followed, humanity learned the full truth. The Daedalus project was revealed to Earth's population along with the evidence of the consortium's true intentions. Public opinion swiftly turned against the alien protectors who had planned to slowly strangle human potential. New negotiations began under the watchful eyes of billions. The consortium, faced with a species that had found ways to innovate within their restrictions, grudgingly recognized they faced a choice: honest partnership or costly conflict. 6 months later, Ilara stood on the Daedalus's observation deck, watching as Earth and consortium representatives signed the new Mutual Development Accords. The ship had become a symbol, not of human aggression, but of refusal to be limited. Dr. O.C. joined her at the viewport. So what happens to our ship now? Museum piece. Ilara smiled. Not quite. The new accords permit us to continue developing it as a deep space exploration vessel, First mission launches next month. Where to? Beyond the boundaries the consortium has mapped. They've kept younger species contained partly by controlling knowledge of what's out there. Ilara turned to face her friend. We're going to find out for ourselves. They're still not happy about it, O.C. observed. No, Ilara agreed. But they've learned something important about humans. What's that? Give us a rule, and we'll find the loophole. Give us a ceiling, and we'll break through it. Not because we're destructive, but because exploration is in our DNA. She gestured to the stars beyond the viewport. And there's so much left to explore. The Daedalus, once a secret act of defiance, now rested in plain sight, a monument to human ingenuity and a promise that humanity would forge its own path among the stars, not as proteges, but as pioneers.